Downloading. Transmitting data. Data transfer complete. Initializing. System online.
Welcome to Caging Greatness News, your most trusted authority on all news regarding the great Nicolas Cage. And now, your host, Captain Shimmy. Hello and welcome to Caging Greatness News. Tonight's story is a special report. DragonCon. What is it? Where is it? Why is it? Why aren't I there? Well, I'm not there because our roving reporter Jeremy Rich is on the floor of DragonCon. He's going to be doing a series of special reports, bringing you all the news, all the guests, and all the events of a great weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. And now, Jeremy Rich.
Welcome to Caging Greatness Live from DragonCon. I'm your field correspondent, Jeremy Rich. Over the next several days, I'll be coming to you from the convention floor with all the news and what's happening, as well as interviews from some of the who's who of DragonCon. And as always, dear listener, here at Caging Greatness, we uphold the best of reporting and news. And now, I will throw it back to the studio with Captain Shimmy. Shimmy?
We'll be back with more reports from roving reporter Jeremy Rich. In other news, gambler Tommy Corman has discovered he has a long-lost son. This son was spotted walking down Fifth Avenue wearing green and yellow tights, asking for Santa Claus. We'll have more on that later. Now, we go back to our roving reporter Jeremy Rich.
Jeremy Rich here for Caging Greatness. We've just recently arrived into Atlanta, as described by the great lyrical poet Ludacris. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play, where they ride on them things like every day. Big beats hit streets, see gangsters rolling, and the party don't stop till 8 in the morning. Well, I don't know about 8 in the morning, but that's the time that the Cajun Greatness crew woke up to make their way into a DragonCon. So here soon, we shall be picking up our badge and checking out what is DragonCon. Back to you in the studio, Shim.
A beautiful sentiment from the same poet who brought us When I Move, You Move, Just Like That. Thank you for your report, Jeremy. We're now going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with more news stories and reporting from DragonCon 2022.
Well, hey there, folks. Do you like mugs, t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, wall art, pillows, all sorts of fun things with fun logos? Well, if you do, head on down to tpublic.com/user/CagingGreatness for all sorts of great merchandise and support your local creators. That's us! Hooray!
Welcome back to Caging Greatness News. We once again join our roving reporter Jeremy Rich.
Jeremy Rich here for Caging Greatness, live here at the Hyatt Regency for DragonCon. Right now, it's quite the bustling environment. We have the who's who, featuring some people that are involved in street fighting, a man who attempted to break another man's back, as well as a large man who really takes bowling incredibly seriously. You just won't believe it, Shimmy. They're everywhere. There's men in towels. It's quite exciting. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Jeremy. A new report suggests that towels are the new men's fashion item of the season. Fashion correspondent and Cajun Greatness Valentine Marco Manone had this to say, quote, "How did you get my phone number?" Always a good time, Marco. And now we go back to Jeremy, our roving reporter.
Jeremy Rich reporting live from what's supposed to be the Marriott, I believe, but instead it seems I have walked into a government facility known as I believe it's the Time Variance Authority. There seems to be very professional people walking around with many of the same folk being held in handcuffs. It seems I'm in some prison facility. I'll report more as I find out. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Jeremy. And if anyone from the TVA happens to ask, I was with you from 1973 to 1976. In other news, gingerbread cookies have been voted most likely to be possessed by the spirit of a serial killer and go on a rampage. Now, back to Jeremy with another report.
Jeremy Rich, correspondent here for Cajun Greatness, and it seems I found a man who is a master of the mystical arts, but not really, maybe dark arts.
Hey, dabbler of the dark art. That's right.
I believe you're a Mr. Constantine, correct?
John Constantine.
Nice to meet you, John. Now, there are reports coming in that you are a very rude and unruly individual. Is that true?
Yes.
So, I guess my next question would be, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
I have good taste. I don't watch them, mate.
You don't watch Nicolas Cage films? He's a national treasure.
Yeah, for your fucking country, not mine, mate.
Well, thank you. You heard it here. John Constantine doesn't watch Nicolas Cage films. Back to you in the studio, Shimmy.
What an illuminating interview. And to the Parents Television Council, we'd like to say regarding the language used by our guest, go fuck yourself. News out of Shadowloo this week. School principal M. Bison has been arrested for changing the lunch menu. When reached for comment, he said, "You wanted burgers, but for me it was Taco Tuesday." We now go back to DragonCon with another interview.
Jeremy Rich here with Cajun Greatness, coming live from DragonCon. And here I have with me the ghost with the most. I believe your name is a Mr. Juice, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you, madam, I believe you guys just got married, so congratulations. How are you feeling?
Oh, thank you. It's been wonderful.
Awesome. So I have to ask, as a part of the Cajun Greatness crew, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Ghost Rider.
I'd have to say Face Off.
Or 60 Seconds. 60 Seconds.
Both are fantastic films. Well, you heard it here. The ghost of the most loves Nicolas Cage as well as his beautiful bride. Back to you in studio, Shim.
What an interesting interview, and an interesting name. Beetlejuice? Try saying that 3 times fast. In other news, stuntman Rod Kimball is planning to jump 15 school buses in order to raise the money necessary for his stepfather Frank Powell's life-saving heart transplant. Rod is quoted as saying, "I would do anything in the world to save his life, including selling my soul." National stuntman Johnny Blaze reportedly said to the young man, "Don't even joke." Now back to Jeremy for another wonderful interview.
Jeremy Rich here with Cajun Greatness News, live from DragonCon. I have here with me Kaido the Beast. Sir, I've heard you've had some recent issues in Wano, is that correct?
Just some young brats trying to make a difference.
Right. Well, I hear Monkey D. Luffy may be gunning for you. Is that right?
I've taken him out once, twice. I'll do it a third.
Okay. Well, for the Cajun Greatness crew, we're a firm supporter in Kaido and believing he's brought great things to Wano. So I have to ask, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
I don't know the name, but where he stole the Declaration of Independence.
Nice. Yes, that's a great film. You heard it here, folks. Kaido the Beast loves Nicolas Cage. And back to you in the studio, Shim. Jeremy Rich here, live from DragonCon for Cajun Greatness, and I am here with what appears to be the holiness of thighs. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir. I am here to preach the good word of the Holy Bible.
The Holy Bible. Now, is that a recognized text by the church?
Maybe not yet, but it will be.
Well, that's good to know. Well, here at Cajun Greatness, we like to support open text, and we believe in the spreading of free information. So I have to ask her, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Oh, God, Nicolas Cage film. Not the bees!
Not the bees. You heard it here, folks. The Pope of Thighs do not like bees. Thank you, sir, and have a great DragonCon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Back to the studio to you, Shim.
As a 20-year member of the Cult of Cthulhu, I have to say these new religions frighten and confuse me. But a church of thighs? Well, I could get behind that, especially if they're KFC. And now we go back to the ground where Jeremy has secured an interview with one of the greatest stars in all of Hollywood. Jeremy?
Jeremy Rich here with Caging Greatness live at DragonCon. I'm here with a cage man himself, Mr. Johnny Cage. How are you doing, sir?
That's right, doing good.
So, Mr. Cage, I hear that you're involved with a couple of underground street fights, as well as maybe something that involves death. Is that true?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Well, your movie numbers seem to be doing great from it rather well.
Yeah, this is true.
So I have to ask, sir, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Who can pick a favorite, really?
He is quite talented, sir.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, all right, you heard it here. Johnny Cage loves Nicolas Cage. Back to you in the studio, Shim.
Legend of stage and screen, Johnny Cage. What a get. No mere mortal, no, he's a true master of his craft. Thank you for watching so far. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with more of DragonCon 2022 coverage here on the Caging Greatness News. Grace, class, style. All of this and more can be found at tpublic.com/user/Caging Greatness. Show the world that you'll never let anyone cage your greatness. Welcome back to Caging Greatness News. We once again join our roving reporter, Jeremy Rich.
Hi, it's Jeremy Rich here from Caging Greatness. I'm live at DragonCon, and here I'm with a museum curator for the multiple islands known as Blathers. Blathers, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you very much.
So, Blathers, how's things been at the museum lately? Have a good bit of attendance, newest attractions? What you got going on?
So we've had a couple of donations, but I think we need a few more to make the museum really something special.
That's quite awesome. So I have to ask, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
It's either between National Treasure or The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Those are great films. We've reviewed them on Caging Greatness. You should listen to it sometime. So yes, thank you for your time, Blathers, and I hope the museum does great.
Thank you very much. Have a nice night.
Yeah, back to you at the studio, Shim.
Thank you, Jeremy. We have breaking national news. Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, has been revealed to be a fugitive on the run from the FBI. Formerly known as Tex McAdoo, Mr. Dimmadome is wanted in connection with several deaths at a former child's play place known as Willy's Wonderland. More information on anyone wearing a white hat with a mustache is sought after by federal authorities.
Jeremy Rich here, live from DragonCon for Caging Greatness. I'm here with a Mrs. Maximoff and a Mr. I'm sorry, did you say your just regular name is Vision?
Just Vision, yes, please.
Well, thank you. And so I hear you guys recently moved into a town and you have two beautiful children. Is that correct?
Yes, Billy and Tommy.
That's great. We're always supportive here at Caging Greatness for wonderful families. So we have to ask you the most important question. What is your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
I'm not sure.
I would say National Treasure.
Yes, I would definitely say that.
Well, nothing like watching a man protecting America through stealing the Declaration of Independence. Thank you so much for being here. Back to you in the studio, Shimmy.
What a lovely couple. I'm sure they'll have nothing but happiness and joy for the rest of their very long lives. In other news, Miami resident Pistario Vargas was recently the target of an attack by two German nationalists who wanted to, and I quote, hunt him for sport. But thanks to help from the German ambassador, Pistario Vargas escaped and the culprits were brought to justice.
Rich here, live from DragonCon with Cajun Greatness. I'm here with a Mrs. You said your name was Harkness, correct?
Agatha Harkness.
Miss Harkness, I've heard numerous reports that you are possibly a witch. Is that true?
Of course it is.
Oh, so what kind of practices of magic do you perform these days?
Well, I would just like to state on the record that what I don't do is murder hundreds of people.
Well, that does seem very important here at Cajun Greatness. We are very strongly about not murdering people. So, Miss Harkness, I have to ask, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder? Nicolas Cage isn't in Tropic Thunder, I don't believe.
He is now.
Oh, well, that's true. It seems now that the list has been changed magically, that Nicolas Cage is now in Tropic Thunder. Shimmy, can you please verify this? Back to you in the studio.
Tropic Thunder is, of course, a classic war satire film starring Ben Stiller, Jack Black, and Nicolas Cage. Cage, who was nominated for an Oscar for his role, lost to Heath Ledger, who was awarded the award posthumously for his portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight, directed by Christopher Nolan. That concludes our Day 1 reporting of DragonCon 2022. Please join us after this episode of Cajun Karaoke for our Day 2 coverage.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cajun Karaoke.
Ooga chaka, ooga 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 chaka, ooga 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 chaka, ooga 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 chaka, ooga ooga.
I can't stop.
Ooga chaka, ooga ooga.
Deep inside. Me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me when you hold me in your arms so tight. You let me. Nope. Everything's all right.
Hooked on a feeling, and I'm high on believing that you're in love with me.
And now, your host, Captain Shimmy. Hello and welcome to Day 2 of our DragonCon 2022 coverage. Here at Cajun Greatness News, we are committed to bringing you only the finest in pop culture coverage. And now, we'll throw it down to our roving reporter, Jeremy Rich, for Day 2.
This is Jeremy Rich reporting live from DragonCon. Jimmy, I'm here in what used to be the Hilton Hotel in downtown Atlanta. It has recently been taken over and bought out by one Bruce Wayne and has now been converted into what is known as Little Gotham. But it looks like this idea wasn't well thought out, as there appears to be many of Batman's Rose Gallery seems to be running around and taking over things. They're having quite the time, though, but none of them seem to be committing any nefarious acts. I'll keep a closer eye and watch on this and report back when I can. I'll stay as safe as possible. Back to you in the studio, Shim.
Interesting development. Perhaps Mr. Wayne can do something about the crime there. Bruce Wayne, of course, known for Wayne Enterprises, the Wayne Foundation, and for the tragic deaths of his parents Thomas and Martha in Crime Alley after a viewing of 1998's Chairman of the Board starring Carrot Top.
Reporting live from DragonCon. Jimmy, I trying to find an answer to all the villains running around Little Gotham, I stumbled across what looked like a blue police booth. Wondering if it was of any help, I stepped inside only to discover it was a larger room inside of a small box. I'm not quite sure of how the physics of this works, but we should get someone to look into this. It could be a new form of technology that they're trying out. It seems as though brand new ideas are being created at DragonCon. Back to you in the studio, Jim.
How quaint. It's smaller on the outside. I would like to take a moment to discuss one of our sponsors. If you have home pests, roaches, ants, fleas, or anything of the sort, give Dale Eck Extermination a call. You don't need a doctor, you need Dale Eck.
Jeremy Rich here with Caging Greatness. I'm here at DragonCon where I've ran into the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Spider-Man, what brings you to DragonCon?
Fighting crime and fun.
Ah, that seems like good. Fun tends to be a very popular thing. Have you been to the Hilton? It seems they've turned it into Little Gotham and there's villains everywhere.
Yeah, but you know, that's what brought me to DragonCon, was to fight the villains.
Well, thank you. So I guess the important question is, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Raising Arizona.
That is a fantastic film. It was a Coen Brothers movie, I believe.
Yeah, the scene where he's fighting in the trailer and he goes to hit the guy from like the top and he scrapes his knuckles on the top of the trailer because the roof is so short and it's a popcorn ceiling and he scrapes his knuckles and he screams. I love that scene.
I'm sure you have quite the vivid memories of having something quite like that happen to yourself, right?
Of course, of course. You know, me and my older brother, we used to fight in trailers all the time. It's so easy to throw each other through the walls of trailers.
That is true. Trailer walls are quite thin. Now, I do have one last question for you. What do you feel about the claims made against you that you were a menace by J. Jonah Jameson?
It's like all media. They just hype people up, get them all upset to sell newspapers. If you just reported on the stuff that made people feel good, they wouldn't sell any newspapers.
Well, that's very true. Thank you, Spider-Man. I hope you have a great DragonCon and have lots of fun and take out some more bad guys.
Yeah, thank you. What's your name?
It's Jeremy Rich from Caging Greatness.
Oh, keep being great.
All right, back to you in the studio, Jim.
And now for a counterpoint, we go back to our roving reporter, Jeremy Rich.
Jeremy Rich here for Caging Greatness. I'm here with journalist
Jonah Jameson, you moron! Spit it out!
Sorry, Mr. Jameson. Here at Caging Greatness, we respect excellent news, and we really appreciate everything the Daily Bugle does.
Yes?
Including your constant coverage about the menace known as Spider-Man. What do you have to say about that, sir?
He's still a menace, but he sells papers.
Ah, that is quite true.
And how is it Parker always gets these great shots of Spider-Man?
I don't know, but I've seen that he's...
On damn skyscraper, and there's a face shot of Spider-Man.
That is very true, sir.
I can't figure that out.
Ah, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Jameson. I don't know how to tell if Peter Parker's doing what he's doing, but he seems to be creating excellent photos.
Yeah, well, I fired him this morning. I'm going to hire him back again next week at half rate.
Ah, well, the most important question, sir, is what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
The one where he did not appear as Spider-Man.
That is very good. Well, thank you, Mr. Jameson, for your time. I hope the paper does well, and we'll be looking for the next issue more about Spider-Man being a menace.
Thank you. Now get out of my face.
All right. Thank you, sir. This is Jeremy Rich reporting live for Caging Greatness. I'm here in what appears to be an underground arcade area. There's lots of the classic hits here, from Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers to Joust and Bomberman and Mrs. Pac-Man. Jim, it's just a plethora of arcade goodness. I believe I will go try my luck at this game called Mortal Kombat. It seems kind of violent, and I believe Mr. Johnny Cage is in this. I'm curious what this might have to do, and next time I see him, I'll have to ask him about it. I'll get it back to you in the studio, Jim.
Here at Caging Greatness News, we value the truth and journalistic integrity. So while Jeremy Rich looks more into Johnny Cage, movie star and idol to millions, possibly being a mass murderer, enjoy this word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Well, hey there, folks. mugs? Do you like mugs, t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, wall art, pillows, all sorts of fun things with fun logos? Well, if you do, head on down to tpublic.com/user/CagingGreatness for all sorts of great merchandise and support your local creators. That's us! Hooray!
Welcome back to Cajun Greatness News. We once again join our roving reporter, Jeremy Rich.
Jeremy Rich here, live DragonCon for Cajun Greatness. Jimmy, it seems as though the participants of the con are performing something known as the time warp. I'm afraid something may occur here that I might not be aware of. Is time travel possible at DragonCon? I've seen many of historical figures. We might have to search further. I'll keep getting back with you, hopefully if I'm still in the same time period. Back to you in the studio.
Be careful and watch your step, Jeremy. Though it stands to reason that if something goes wrong, it might be corrected by simply doing the time warp again. Historian Benjamin Gates has done it again. Gates recently found the lost city of Atlantis. When reached for comment, Gates reportedly said, "There was a smudge. It was under Atlanta the whole time."
Jeremy Rich here with Cajun Greatness Live at DragonCon. I'm here with Eve Sterwin, a local zoologist here at DragonCon. Mr. Sterwin, can you tell us why there's packs, it seems, of dinosaurs roaming around?
There's some big ugly lizards, I tell you what.
So is this your main purpose for coming to DragonCon, is to research the interesting migration patterns of these dinosaurs?
I hate those bastards. I'm trying to track them down so I can kill them.
You're trying to kill them, sir? Why would you do that? This is a scientific discovery of the century.
They killed my wife.
They killed your wife? I'm sorry to hear about that. Was it a really good marriage?
Honestly, no.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it could have been a blessing in disguise. I'm not sure. But we don't also condone dinosaurs eating people. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your zoological discoveries here at DragonCon?
If you see one of those big ugly bastards, you kill it for me.
Will do, sir. Back to you in the studio, chum.
Be careful out there, Jeremy. Dinosaurs are no joke. If you find yourself cornered, remember the words of preeminent scientist Dr. Ian Malcolm. He says, anytime you're cornered by a dangerous reptile, simply open the door, get on the floor, and then everyone walk the dinosaur.
Jeremy Rich here for Cajun Greatness. Jimmy, it seems as though I found myself into an underground rave. There seems to be many of people here dancing and bright lights going on. It's quite the spectacle, I swear. I believe I see what it appears to be Gandalf the Grey using light orbs and Darth Maul having an intricate dance battle. This must be a cultural thing. I'll need to do some more investigating. And hold on just a second. Excuse me, what? No, sir, I do not know who Molly is. I've never met her in my life. Do you need help finding this person? No. Sorry about that, Jimmy. I'll report back to you later to let you know how things go on the cultural affairs known as an underground rave. Back to you in the studio.
Be careful out there, Jeremy. I remember my flirtation with Molly. It was a crazy time. Apparently, I'm a hugger. In other news, creators of popular reality show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here have recently come into hot water for some of the guests they've tried to recruit. Former reality star and anti-reality show activist Truman Burbank was approached for the show, reportedly saying to the producers, "You're screwing with me, right?" Back to you, Jeremy.
Jeremy Rich here for Cajun Greatness. Jimmy, I'm here in what I thought was DragonCon, but appears to be now on the planet of Alderaan. They seem to be having quite a celebration. I found out from some of the locals that a new moon has appeared in the sky. There's also been some mysterious reports about a missing diplomat, but nothing to be confirmed yet. Everybody does seem to be having a great time. Alderaan is known for its great political policies and wonderful politicians in the Senate. So hopefully there'll be a fun night, and I'll eventually be able to figure my way out of here to get back to DragonCon. I'll give it back to you in the studio, Jimmy. Jeremy Rich here for Caging Greatness. Jim, I have returned back from Alderaan. Everything seems to be fine, though I may have lost my traveling bag. It had a lot of my toiletries in it. I'll have to go track down some location. I've tried contacting the people on Alderaan, but I've received no messages. Everything seems to be going to their voicemail. But I will attempt to try again. Maybe they'll get back with me and I can retrieve things back. You know, it's not like everything bad happens. Alderaan's usually such a peaceful and quiet place. Now back to you in the studio, Shim.
Glad to hear you're fine, friend. Just be careful. You don't want to go looking for your travel bag in Alderaan places. This concludes our Day 2 coverage of DragonCon 2022. Join us tomorrow for the finale, the final day of DragonCon with our roving reporter, Jeremy Rich, here on Caging Greatness News.
Riding out one dark and windy day. Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way. When all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed crow galloped, plowing through the ragged skies and up the cloudy draw. Give me stones in my ass. Their brands were still on fire, their hooves were made of steel. Their horns were black and shiny, and their hot breath he could feel. Bolts of fear went through him as they hunted through the slate fuck. For he saw the riders coming hard, and he heard their mournful cry. Give me stones in my ass. Their faces were gone, their eyes were blurred, their shirts were soaked in sweat.
He's riding hard to catch that herd, but he ain't caught him yet.
Cause they got to ride forever on that range up in the sky.
Where's this snorting fire? And they ride on here, there, fire.
Give me
name.
If you want to save your soul from the hell of riding on a range,
then cowboy, change your ways today, or with us you ride.
Trying to catch the devil's curve across this endless skies.
host, Captain Jimmy. Hello and welcome back to Caging Greatness News. We are now going live to Jeremy Rich for Day 3, the final day of our coverage of DragonCon 2022.
Jeremy Rich here, reporting live for Cajun Greatness here at DragonCon. I'm at what is labeled as the gaming area, but it seems as though there are fights going on between what appears to be the world's greatest plumber, Mr. Mario, versus other people that seems to be his friends. I've recently seen him taking on what appears to be a small animal that only speaks its single name. I believe it is a Pikachu. There also seems to be some underground street racing going on as well. Appears as though the racers are using illegal weapons such as green turtle shells, banana peels, and what appears to be a star to provide some sort of invincibility. I'm not quite sure how this works, Jimmy. I'm going to need to investigate it more. There also appears to be tons of board games everywhere, but none that quite like the likes of Monopoly, or even my personal favorite, Connect 4. And I'll look through more and see what's happening. Back to you in the studio, Jimmy.
Wild times, friend. In other news, local mercenary and former swordsmith Inigo Montoya was arrested after a drunken bar brawl. Witnesses state that a accidental collision was the cause, with Montoya repeatedly saying, "You spilled my lager, prepare to die." Back to you, Jeremy.
Jeremy Rich here for Cajun Greatness. I'm here with a master of martial arts. I believe your name was Roshi?
Yes, Master Roshi.
Well, excuse me, Roshi, I've heard that your students have been quite popular in the World Martial Arts Tournament.
A little bit. They learn a little.
Also, I've also heard reports of people seeing you around a man named Mr. Jackie Chung. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know a man named Jackie Chan. I don't know what you're talking about.
Apparently he won the World Martial Arts Tournament against your student Goku. Is that correct?
I don't know, but he's a very attractive fellow.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. So, Master Roshi, I have to ask, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Oh, I would have to say Face Off.
Face Off. That's a good one.
He takes his face off.
That is very true. Well, you heard it here, folks. Master Roshi loves Nicolas Cage. Thanks, Master Roshi.
Excellent interview, Jeremy. And in related news, authorities are still on the lookout for martial artist Jackie Chun for child endangerment, all stemming from his World Martial Arts Tournament match against Son Goku, who was, at the time, a minor.
Jeremy Rich here for Cajun Greatness. I'm here with Mr. Oswald Cowapod. Sir, what brings you to DragonCon?
This wheelchair. No, seriously. I got a little bit of an accident.
An accident? What kind of accident, sir?
Well, I don't know. You ever heard of Justin Bieber?
No, Cajun Greatness here. We've never heard of Justin Bieber.
Yeah, his bodyguards beat me up, and then he beat me up, and then he slept with my girlfriend, but I still like his music.
That sounds horrible, sir. Hopefully you'll be able to recover quite well.
I hope so, too.
So, I hear that the Asperg Lounge has been visited by Batman recently. How do you feel about that?
Well, he still hasn't got paid the damn valet any damn money for parking there. I don't understand it. You know, you'd think like he would have some kind of money somewhere, but cheap ass.
Here at Cajun Greatness, we do not like cheap people. So I guess the important question is, what's your favorite Nicolas Cage film?
Honeymoon in Vegas.
We just reviewed that one recently on the show.
Yeah, it's because me and the little lady that I was with, we actually had a little tete-a-tete there in Vegas.
That's quite exciting, sir. Well, thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Back to you in the studio, Shimmy.
Inspiring words from restaurateur and nightclub owner Oswald Cobblepot. Cobblepot, of course, known for his taste in fashion and his taste in vehicles. And now, with an update on sports, is correspondent Emilio Jimenez. Emilio?
Hola, hace mucho calor aquí en Alabama. Si tienen censo, por favor no vengan a Alabama. Alabama, no bueno.
Jeremy Rich here for Cajun Greatness. We're on our way back to the studio from Atlanta. We've successfully survived DragonCon. But on the way back, we've stopped at something quite unusual, Shim. It's a place called Buc-ee's. It seems to be an entire gas station, Walmart-esque shopping center complex revolving around a statue of a small beaver with a red hat named Bucky. While inside the store, we actually encountered Bucky himself. He was wandering around, getting his picture taken with children. It's almost like he's sort of like a Mickey Mouse, but more centrally located towards the south. I'm wondering if this might be some kind of religious area. I'll have to investigate more and get back to you. Or maybe this will be a future news report. Back to you in the studio, Shem.
In national news, political activist Pennywise the Dancing Clown is on the road again, encouraging young adults to register to vote in their local towns as soon as they've turned 18. Pennywise, known, of course, for his wonderful motto, "We all vote down here." And now we go to Jeremy Rich for the final report of our DragonCon 2022 spectacular. Jeremy?
Jeremy Rich here for Caging Greatness. I have returned back to the studio from DragonCon. It was quite the weekend, and I'm going to go pass out now. Have a lovely evening, and thanks for listening.
Truly inspiring words from our roving reporter, Jeremy Rich. Thank you all for joining us for our DragonCon 2022 report. Please join us again next week for your regularly scheduled episode of Caging Greatness, featuring my birthday pick. For my birthday, we'll be watching Arnold Schwarzenegger's classic, Commando. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.